Hello everyone, today we're learning about Mציעא Daf Samech. Says the Gemara, Samecheu and base 4 lines up. O Gavra, that man, the Zovine Aryeh Chavrei. Shaloi bar Chrais, he sold the field to his friend without a Chrais. Without a Chrais, it means without guarantee, meaning if someone comes and take away this field from the person because of the seller, let's say the seller owed someone money, and now he doesn't have money to pay that person, so that person could come take his fields even though they sold them on. And if he has no price, no guarantee to get paid back if someone takes away his field. He saw that the buyer was upset, he was sad, because he said, I bought this field and I don't have a guarantee on it. So the seller told the buyer, why are you sad? If someone's going to take this field from you, I'll pay you shufra for my best of my fields, shvocha, anything that you invested in the field, the peri and the fruit that they took away from you. Says Ameima, Samechvav Amud Aleph, Pitume mile be'alma, Pitume mile be'almu. It's Pitume mile, it's ein elu elo divrei tanchumim be'alma lepatem es liboy. Just making him happy doesn't really mean it. It's just words to make him happy, and it doesn't really mean it. And if they take away the field from the buyer, the seller doesn't have to pay anything. What's the reason that this clause on the deal is not a good clause? Who's meant to make this tnai and say, if they take it away from me, I want to get back the money? The one who bought it is meant to make this tnai. In this case, the moicha is the one who's saying this extra part of the deal, and really it's not in his benefit. And his benefit is that it should be shaloi bar chrais, and he's adding that chrais. It's not his responsibility. So Tame mai kevin lokach boy last nuye va'ocha moicha komaste amad pitumi milo balmu, because that he's saying it's only words without anything behind them. Elo masnisa, the brisa that we just learned in the shir before, on Samecheu on the base at the bottom, the Ktoni lekishiu lechamois, that if the case was over there that Reuven bought a field off Shimon, and then Reuven told Shimon, if you ever have money, I'll sell it back to you. So kishiu lechamois achzer lecha, I'll give it back to you, mutter. You're allowed to do that. And we said the moicho de boy last nuye, who should be making that deal, saying that I could get back the field if I have money? The moicha should say that, right? Because he wants to get the field back, not the loikech wants to give it back. Moicha lo yasni, the moicha never made the deal. The loikech komasni, and the loikech is the one who said those extra words and said, if ever you have money, I'll sell it back to you. And over there we asked, what's the difference in the ratio where the moicha said it to the case of the sefer where the loikech said it? And Rava explained, sefer da'amar lemidate. The sefer is talking about where the loikech said, if I want, I'll sell it back to you if you have money. We didn't say I'll for sure sell it back to you. The whole reason is that it's mutter is because he said midate. Because he said, if I want, I'll sell it back to you. So therefore, if he wants, he sells it back. If he didn't say, if I want, I'll sell it back to you, but the loikech said, I shall sell it back to you if you have money without no tnoim. Even though that really the one who should say that tnai is a moicha, and the loikech is the one who said it, if he said, for sure, I'm going to give it back to you if you give me money, he'll have to give it back if he has money. He shouldn't be saying that tnai, and we are saying that when the wrong person says that tnai, it's no chal. When Rava said that he's talking about where he said that I'm going to only sell it to you back if I want, it doesn't mean that he said only if I want. Really, he said, I'll sell it to you back for sure. You sold me this field, I'll give it to you back if you have money. But because he's the one who said it and not the moicha who's meant to say it, that's why it says, if he said, if I want, because he's not going to make that tnai, and because he made the tnai, it's not for sure. It's only if he wants he'll sell it back, and therefore it fits in. This guy who was on his deathbed, the Kosav lo gito lebitayu, he wrote a get to his wife, and he never wrote in the get bitnai that I will die, that it should be chal now. He gave a normal get, angid vetnach. He was krechzing and he was upset about it. Leisha, she told him, "I come masnaches. Why are you upset? What are you upset about? Kindness. If you stay alive, the dochano, I'll stay yours. I'm not going to be divorced." Omar Rav Zvid, says Rav Zvid, Pitume Mili Be'almu. The words of the wife is only to make him happy, but even if he stays alive, the woman is Megureshes, and she could go marry anyone she wants, even though that she said, I'll stay yours if you stay alive. Omar Le Rav Achmed Ifti Ravina, V'ila Pitume Mili. If it wasn't Pitumi Mili, if she really, really meant it, and she really meant that if you stay alive, I'll be yours, and she made the tnai, she promised, she really meant it, then it would work. Does she have a koyach to make a tnai in the get? She has no koyach. She has no koyach to make a tnai in the get. He has to make the tnai in the get, and therefore if he didn't make a tnai in the get, what she said is irrelevant. Says the Gemara, I might have thought Ugufei, the man himself, adapted the Doko Gomer, when he gave her the get, was al das that if she stays alive, the get won't be chal, and on her words, the Yoiv Gita, and therefore the get's only chal if he dies, Komash Malon. No, but because he never said that tnai, and she's meant to say that, because he never said that tnai, and he's meant to say that tnai, and she's the one who said that tnai, it's only Pitume Milsa. And that's pshat. Ilvo al-Sadeh, we learned in the Mishnah that if someone lent money on the field, and he told him, if you won't give me the field, if you won't pay me until 3 years, this field's going to be yours. So we said in the Mishnah, it becomes his. Omar Rav Huna, b'shas matan mois kona. If this deal was made when the money of the loan was given over, so the malve will be koina koil. If he doesn't pay him on time, by the 3 years come, he's koina the whole field, even though that the loan was £1,000 and the field was worth £2,000. He's koina koil. If after the loan was given, then the loiva told to the malve, you could take from this field if I don't pay up to 3 years. He only could get the value of the loan of £1,000, not the whole field. Rav Nachman Omar, afilu lacha matamois, even if the tnai was said after the money was given over, kona koil. He's koina everything, the whole field. Ovad Rav Nachman uvda gabi Reish Galusa. There was a story by the Reish Galusa that someone made such a deal. After the loan was given, the guy promised him to give him the field if he doesn't pay in so and so time. The time came. And Rav Nachman paskin kishmaite, like he paskin, the malva will get the whole field more than the value of the loan. Carry Rav Yudah l'shtori. Rav Yudah tore up the star because Rav Yudah didn't agree with him. Omale Rish Galusa, the Rish Galusa told Rav Nachman, Rav Yudah, Kar l'shtorcha, look what happened. Rav Yudah told the star, he didn't agree with you. Omale Dardeke Kore, did the child tear it like bitmia? Gav a rabba Kore. A choshev man like Rabbi Yehuda tore it. Obviously, Choza Beitama, he knows a reason, and that's why he tore up the star to give this field to the Malva. He knows what he's doing, Rabbi Yehuda. That's one way of learning the story. There was another way of learning the story. Ikedarmi, some people say, Omalei, Rabbi Nachman told the Rish Galusa, Dardeke Kore, a child tore it, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda done is nothing. Everyone, compared to me, Bedina, when it comes to paskining, dardekininu, they like children because I'm a boki bedinim, and therefore Rav Yehuda did is nothing. Oto Ober Rav Nachman, then Rav Nachman changed his mind. Afilu b'shas matamois, even though when you give the money, you made this tnai, and he said, if I don't pay until 3 years, you can take this field, and the field's worth more than the loan. Loi kono v'loi klum. He doesn't have any schus in the field. Esi v'Rov Rav Nachman, Rav asked the Kasha Rav Nachman from our Mishnah. If I don't pay you back until 3 years, Aryeh, if you don't pay me back until 3 years, this field should be mine. Aryeh, the feather Mishnah becomes his after 3 years. How could Rav Nachman argue the Mishnah? Omalei. So Rav Nachman said, Ani yoyme asmachta kanya. I at the beginning held asmachta kanya. Asmachta means something that's like a if. If this happens, it's like a bet. If it rains in middle of May in Israel, I'm going to give you so and so money. So why is a person willing to do a bet? Because he doesn't believe it's going to rain in May in Israel. So that's called asmachta. So Rav Nachman says, I at the beginning held asmachta works. So therefore, we hear in the Mishnah to asmachta. Why is the loiva willing to give a field that's worth much more than the loan to the malva if he doesn't pay until 3 years? Because he's sure he's going to pay in those 3 years. So if the 3 years came and he didn't pay, it's asmachta. So I at the beginning held asmachta kanya, and therefore the Mishnah made sense. Uminyumi Omar, but Minyumi taught me that asmachta loy kanya, that something that's a if, like a bet, is not koina. And therefore I hold like Minyumi. Says the Gemara, Minyumi kashem asisin. Our Mishnah says asmachta kanya because it's asmachta to give a bigger value of a field for a small amount of loan. Telling more to Turutzim. Ibo is saying the first teretz masisin Rabbi Yosi. Our Mishnah the Rabbi Yosi who holds in Bava Basra and get poshut. The Oma asmachta kanya, and therefore in the Mishnah it works, but we don't hold like Rabbi Yosi. Ibo is saying another teretz the Oma leikoni me'achshav. That the case in the Mishnah, Samach Vav on base we turned over, the case is that he told him, if I don't, he took the loan and he said, if I don't pay, this should be your field already from now. And when he say from now, it's not already a if. Because it's a kinyan gomo. He gave it to him now and he did a chazaka in it. And obviously the Paris, who eats a Paris, so the fear of Yudah, that tzadechot berubis is no problem. Doesn't matter who eats a Paris, whoever the agreement or the moicha could eat Paris. Loker could eat it. And if you're a bonon that tzadechot berubis is also, we give the Paris to a third person to hold to see what happens if he pays back the loan or not. Omale mar Yunuko mar Kashisha bnei Dora bnei Derav Chizdel Ravashi. Ochi Amri Nardor. This is what Nardor say, Mishmed Rav Nachman. Ay asmachta. This asmachta that we talk about in the Mishnah, where a guy says, you could take my field that's worth more than the loan if I don't pay in 3 years. Bismane Kanya. That means if the 3 years came and he didn't pay, you're koina. He's koina the field, and now that's how we understand it now, and it means because asmachta is koina. Below is money. If it's before the time of the 3 years, loy kanya, he doesn't get the field. Oh malay, what are you talking about? Call me the bizmane kani below is money loy kani. Anything, if I have a deal about anything and there's a time when the deal has to happen, how should the kinyan happen before the time comes? If they agreed that only after 3 years it becomes yours, how should it become yours before 3 years? Obviously, before 3 years it doesn't become the malva. The agreement is by 3 years. You could ask me if I smachta kani or not, but before the 3 years, for sure not. Maybe this is what you meant. If the malva met the loiva before the 3 years is over, and the loiva told the malva, you know what, I want you to take this field for the loan I owe you, and it's before the deadline of the loan. Koni, he's koina because Romalei Koni is koina, bossas mane, if he said the loiva told the malva you could keep the field after the time of the loan is finished, after the 3 years, and he said take this field, loy koni, he's not koina, my timer. What's the reason? Because really asmachta is no koina, and the reason why he's willing after the 3 years, why it's not koina, and he's saying, and the loiva says you could take it, because he knows he owes him money and he doesn't have the money to pay, so he says from embarrassment take the field, but really doesn't want to give the field, and it's asmachta and asmachta loy kanya. But if he said before the end of the time, so you don't owe the money yet, why are you giving the field away? Obviously you literally mean that you don't mind giving the field for your loan, and therefore it's not asmachta. He's really wanting to give the field, and therefore the din is that the field becomes the malvas. Telling more of a lawyer, and this is not true, that filu begoes money, even if before the 3 years is up, he gives him the field. Nami loikoni is still not koine the malva. By the koma loikoni, and the reason why the loive gave it to the malva and told him you should be koina, kosova kimotazem money. I'll tell him take the field. That when the 3 years is over, he shouldn't bother me. But really, and I don't want him to be koine the field, and therefore even if before the 3 years he gives him the field, the din is that the field doesn't become a malvas. Omar of Papa. Ahaya smachta. Zimnim kanya, but zimnim loy kanya. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. The case of our Mishnah, they gave him a field that's worth more than the value of the loan after 3 years if he doesn't pay back the loan. Came the 3 years and he sees the loiva just sitting in the bar drinking beer. Koni. So it shows that he doesn't care about his field, and therefore the malva is kind of the field. If he sees that the loiva is chasing and going to the gmach to get money and trying to borrow money to pay off his loan, so obviously he doesn't want to give the field. The malva is not kind of the field. Why did he tell me if he's drinking beer, you say that it's koni? Maybe he's drinking because he's fearful, he knows he owes money, doesn't have how to pay back, so he's very scared, and alcohol makes you happy, so he's so nervous he's drinking alcohol, but not because he doesn't want to pay back. Inami, maybe another reason he's drinking alcohol is someone else said, oh, I'll give you the money, I'll give you money to pay back. So he says, oh, tomorrow morning I'm getting the money from that person, so I'm chilled now, I could chill and drink beer. But really wants to pay back, so why is that proof that if he's drinking beer that you're koina? Elo Ravina, so says Ravina differently. He copied Bedomi. If he's selling his stuff, the loiva, but he's not going lower than the value in the market, he's very makpid to get the right value. So he means to say he's not trying to pay back the loan, because if you'd be really trying to pay back the loan, he'd sell his items for cheaper. Why so? Dilma, maybe Sova. If I'm going to start selling my items for cheap, everyone's going to say this guy is in debt, he owes people money, and they'll only buy stuff from him from cheap. They'll negotiate very hard with him. So therefore, really, he's desperate to pay back the loan, but he's not willing to sell it for cheap. Because then everything's going to go for cheap. No one's going to pay the right value for his items. Amar Papa, he copied Ba'ara. If he's not even willing to sell his land for the right value, that means he's not trying to give back the choy, because if he'd want to give back the choy, he'd sell his land for the normal market value. If he's not willing to sell his land for his normal market value, obviously he doesn't mind that this field is a payment to the malve, and therefore vadai koni, the malve will be koina the field. And this is Rashi's pshat. This has a different pshat. Ein shom. V'omar Papa. Afal gav domer abona asmachta loikanye. Even though that we said if, like a bet, the kinyan's nochal, apoitiki avelemigbe mine. In this case, where he said this field should be yours if I don't pay in 3 years, the field's worth 2,000, the loan was 1,000, so we said that he's not going to the field, but to be goiva from this field, the 1,000 that he does owe, that yes. Apoitiki is that he could take from this specific field what he owes him. Omale Rav Huna Breder of Derav. Nosen Rav Papa, Mika Omale Liguvaina. Did he ever say, I'm giving this field to be goiva from it, like Apoitiki to take what I owe you? He said he's giving it to him as to be part of the whole choiv, but that's not chal because it's asmachta. So mechite it should be chal guvaina, like he claimed from here. Omale mazut Breder Mor Ravina, vi Omar Koni lemig b'minei. Koni. And if he did say that this field should be a guvaina, would it work? So if asmachti, at the end of the day, it's a if. If I don't pay in 3 years, he could take from this field. It's still at the end of the day, it's a if. We are saying that any if is not kinyan. So even if he did say clearly that it should be leguvaina, it should not work. What did Rapapa mean to say that he could take from this field? The Omale lo yeh lecha piron elo mizu. That if, let's see Rashi, Da'amar le lo yeh lecha piron elo mizeh, af b'soich shalosh shonim, that the loiva told the Malva that even in the 3 years, if I don't have cash to pay you, the only way I'm going to pay you is this field. And he said, if I don't give you in the 3 years the value of my field, connected how much I owe you, the whole field should be yours. But Omar or Papa, in that case, Papa said, even though that the Malva is not coining the whole field, that should be all his because it's asmachta lachar gimel after 3 years. But to claim specifically from this field, he can't. That even without asmachta, he did apoitiki, and when you do apoitiki b'shas alvo, the kinyan chal straight away on the karka, and therefore it's not asmachta, and therefore the Malva could claim the value of the loan from this field. This person to Zovini Aryeh lechavre b'achrais, he sold the field to his friend b'achrais, like we said, with a guarantor, meaning that if the malve of the seller comes and takes the field, the seller is going to have to pay the buyer the loss. Omale itorfule minoi, if they take it away from you. So the buyer told the seller, if they take it away from me, Magbisli, I want you to pay me idis from the blue chips, from the top of the top that you have. Idis is the best, Beinonis is a mediocre, and Ziborus is the worst. But that's in the market value. But one person could have the top of the top. So he told him, I want that you should pay me from your top of your top. Omalei, so the seller told to the buyer, I'm not going to give you from the best of blue chips I have. I want to keep those for myself. I'm going to give you from the market value idis, from the best of the market value that I have. Even though they many get from Beinanis, I'll give you from idis. Lasoif tarfrum in the end, they took it away from the buyer. Also, bedoka shoki leidi idis. Now, meanwhile, a river overflew and ruined the blue chips, this best field that the seller had, got ruined from a river overflowing, so he doesn't have any more this best of the best. So, a Papa thought to say, Me'idis omale, the seller committed to idis, it's in front of him, so he has to pay from his idis. From the idis to alma. The seller could tell the buyer, when did I say that I'm going to give you from the best of the market, the ave idis kaima, when I still have the best of the best blue chips by me, so I don't mind to give you the idis of kula alma. Ashto kaima le idis b'mokim idis. Now my best is the idis of kula alma. I want to keep that for myself, like I told you earlier, that the best of mine I want to keep, and now the best of mine is the idis of kula alma, so I don't want to give it to you, I want to give you only beinonis. And why should I have to give you the idis? Tell the Gemara. And that's, the Gemara doesn't answer, that's what's right. Rav Bar Shava Abba Masik Bei Rav Kana Zuzi. Rav Kana owed him money. Omale, he told him, if I won't pay you by this and this date, govi mai chamra, you could take from this wine. Sovar Papa Meimar, Rav Papa thought to himself to say, when do we say that something that's a if, it's nochal, hanimili be'ara? That's talking about when I do a if about the land. The lavlis bunikaimer, people don't really want to sell the piece of land, and the only reason why I said it is because I thought I won't come to it. Aval chamra, but when we talk about wine, came the lisbunikoi, since people want to sell, wine is meant for sale. It's as if I said I'll pay you with cash, and therefore, if he didn't pay on the date that they agreed on, he has to give him from that wine, and it's not considered asmachta. This is what we said in the name of Rabba. Call the anything that has an if in it. If this and this happens, then I have to give you that. Loikoni, it's a smachta, there's no smichus das, it's like a bet, and there's no kinyan, and therefore he doesn't have to pay him from the wine he promised, and he could pay him with something else. Says the Gemara, Omer Rav Nachman, Ashto de Omer Rabbona Asmachta Lo Ikanya. Now that we said the Asmachta, when you do like a bet, if there's no Smichus Das and it's not Chal. So what happened in the case of the Mishnah? Reuven promised this field to Shimon for the loan if he doesn't pay in 3 years, and the field's worth more than the loan. The 3 years come, and Shimon took the field. So says Rav Nachman, Hoda Ara. So Shimon has to give Reuven back the field. V'oda Peri, and he has to give back the fruit they ate from when he took the field until when he gives it back, because it doesn't belong to him. Says the Gemara, Lemeimro, we could see the Sover of Nachman, the Rav Nachman holds, Mechila betos le'ava mechila, that when someone's moichel something by mistake, it's not mechila. Why is this a mechila betos? Because this person, this Reuven who gave Shimon the field after 3 years, he thought it really belongs to Shimon. So he was moichel, but really it was betos, because he never knew asmachta loikaina. So it's a mechila betos. So we could see if he has to give back the purse, so mechila betos is not called a good mechila. Va'itma, didn't we learn a moicha purse dekel lechaver is someone who sold fruit, dates from a dekel to his friend before they exist. Amar Avuna achloi bo loilom, until before they came they grew. Yochel achzubo, he could change his mind because it's dava sheloi bo loilom. Misha bo loilom, if they already grew, in yochel achzubo, he can't change his mind. Rav Nachman Omar, Rav Nachman says, Af misha bo loilom, even after they came to the world and these dates grew at yochel achzubo, he could change his mind. But Omar Rav Nachman, and Rav Nachman added and said, Moedina, I agree, the ishomit v'ochil, if even though that the seller could change his mind, if the buyer went and ate his pears after they grew, they agreed on, and he ate it, we can't force him to give it back. That's it, done deal. He ate the pears that they agreed on. So over here, really the moicha could change his mind, and he doesn't know that he could change his mind. So, and he's moichel betos to the buyer, and he lets him eat the pears. And we say the mechilas betos is shmei mechila. We let the buyer keep the pears that he ate of this palm tree. Why is it any different to Rav Nachman that said before mechila betos lo ava mechila? Says the Gemara, osom zvini hoche alvo. There's a difference over there. That by the palm tree, he sold him the pears, and therefore it's a mechira. And therefore, even though that the mechira is not really chak, it's tova shloi b'lo'olam, at the end it's a sale, and since he was moichel betos, mechila betos is ava mechila, and therefore we can't take out the dates back from the buyer. But by our case, by asmachta, in the case of the Mishnah, it's alva. The whole case started that he took a loan and he said, I'll give you the field if I don't pay in 3 years. So really, mechila betos have a mechila. And we could let Shimon keep the pears he ate, but the problem is it looks like ribis. Because Reuven took a loan off him, and now Shimon got the field, ate the pears, now Reuven has to give him back the money for the loan, and also Shimon ate the pears, so he had the pears on top of the value of the loan. That looks like interest. And therefore, because it's a loan, we don't let that happen, and we say you have to give back the pears, not because mechila betos lo yishmoi mechila. Shkoyach.